Tonight, the cost of the coronavirus, $4 billion a week and counting. The Prime Minister's plea to get Australians working again.
But to get Australia back to work, we have to get Australians back to work in a COVID-safe economy.
Holidays at home, the next step to reopening Queensland's economy on the road to recovery. Mistakes and broken rules exposed at the inquiry into the Ruby Princess debacle. Australia chips in as the world pours billions of dollars towards finding a COVID vaccine. And assaults rise against frontline workers now amid a pandemic. Those attacks take a sinister turn.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. The Prime Minister has made it clear some big announcements are coming on Friday around easing the COVID-19 restrictions. But with the cost of coronavirus at $4 billion a week, the National Cabinet's priority is getting 1 million Australians back to work.
Today's National Cabinet became an international affair, with the New Zealand PM joining the hookup with Scott Morrison and state premiers.
It was great to have the Prime Minister Ardern there with us today.
With high hopes of opening up our borders.
We both stand to benefit from getting travel up and running again. We'll be looking for ways to do it safely. That will be top of mind.
But it might be a while off yet.
It is still some time away, but it is important to flag it because it is part of the road back.
When we feel comfortable and confident that we both won't receive cases from Australia, but equally that we won't export them, then that will be the time to move.
The Treasurer fronted the National Press Club today, outlining the brutal economic impact of the COVID lockdown.
With Treasury forecasting a fall of over 10% in the June quarter, equivalent to $50 billion.
So you can understand that with numbers like that, the National Cabinet are not in any way unaware of the serious implications of the decisions that we've had to take now over many months.
With today's Bureau of Statistics numbers showing a massive spike in unemployment.
We now need to get 1 million Australians back to work. That is the curve that we need to address.
Across sectors hardest hit by the crisis.
It's not just the waiter and the chef that is affected. It is the food producer. It is the supply chain.
We'll get a firmer idea of exactly how lockdowns will be eased in each state when National Cabinet reconvenes on Friday. There is frustration, though, within the federal government about growing recalcitrance within Victoria, with a sense that they may well choose to go it alone.
At the end of the day, every Premier, every Chief Minister has to stand in front of their state and justify the decisions that they're taking in terms of the extent of the restrictions that are in place.
With the health crisis seemingly under control, the economic repair work begins.
And Peter joins us now from Canberra. Has the PM given any indication of when Australians can go back to work?
Well, he's certainly hoping that Friday is the day that can happen and that they'll be able to announce it after that National Cabinet meeting. But it really does depend on which state you're in, because there'll be variations there. Indeed, what sectors you're in. If you work in the music festival industry, for example, I wouldn't be expecting to go back to work anytime soon. But the interesting thing about the Prime Minister's press conference today is he seems to be increasingly realising that as a federation, it's not really his call. So he's the nation's leader as the PM, but it's premiers, state by state, that really make the big decisions when it comes to how we come out of lockdown, what jobs can go back and what restrictions can be eased. So we're all passengers in this as we wait to see what happens, and in some ways, even though he chairs the National Cabinet, the PM is also a passenger.
The waiting game continues. Thank you, Peter, in Canberra. The business sector is demanding greater clarity about when the next stage of restrictions will be announced. The Premier insists the roadmap to recovery is well underway and could begin with the reopening of cafes and restaurants as well as state-based travel.
Enjoying a few more freedoms and the first signs of light in the Sunshine State.
We have very few active cases, so everything is looking bright here in Queensland.
After settling on a plan to send some students back to school, the next step, slowly restarting the rest of the economy.
You lift some restrictions, you examine it for 2 weeks, and then you can look at lifting further restrictions.
The Premier today indicating easing travel restrictions could begin with holidays close to home.
Is it might be Queensland supporting Queenslanders.
And initially, short-term accommodation.
But we need to take this cautiously.
Some in the tourism sector are demanding clearer deadlines.
Looking forward to seeing a date when there is a bit of light on the horizons and we can open our doors again.
I'd like to see a recovery plan, full stop, end of story. I think the community want to see it.
As operators in the tropics call for the state to abandon a one-size approach.
While we really welcome the easing, if it could have been 70 or 100 kilometres, that would have opened up much greater opportunities.
The Premier says she's meeting with the industry this week, as well as representatives from restaurants and cafes. There's no set time frame for those businesses, but they should be getting ready.
What I would be hoping that they would start formulating is COVID-safe plans. So what does it mean in this new COVID world to open up safely?
Even when more sectors of the economy eventually open up, social distancing is here to stay for now. The Premier today confirming it will be part of our lives until there's a vaccine. Overnight, the state recorded another 5 cases. 3 are Queenslanders who picked up the virus interstate. The other 2 are in the southeast.
It is important to recognise that we are still getting the occasional case, and if we don't manage that and we have more people out and about, it could be a risk.
Claire Barnes for 10 News First.
To breaking news, in Sydney's Newmarch house has again been hit by tragedy, with the death toll there rising from coronavirus. Paris Martin joins us from outside the nursing home. Paris, it's another devastating day for staff and loved ones.
It certainly is, Georgie. Anglicare has confirmed the death of yet another resident at Newmarch House in Sydney's West. This brings the facility's death toll to 16. This is the second biggest cluster in the country, with 37 residents infected and 29 staff members. The provider has now started swab testing all staff members as they arrive at work as part of a rigorous daily routine. 3 new cases were detected yesterday. Over the weekend, Anglicare has confirmed that 1 contracted worker was stood down over alleged breaches of PPE protocols, a disappointing revelation for families in the wake of a deadly few weeks. The state's chief health officer has defended staff here, saying it's not always easy to maintain the infection control measures, especially when trying to provide compassionate care for residents who might be disoriented or confused. Georgie?
Thank you, Paris, with that update in Sydney. A New South Wales health official has broken down at the Ruby Princess inquiry, apologising in tears for a litany of mistakes. The Special Commission also heard the ship did not follow the rules with its 6 sick passengers, leaving officials powerless to stop them.
She's an infectious disease expert whose job it is to prevent these types of disasters. But Carrie-Anne Ressler could only offer an apology.
I'm very sorry it turned out the way it did. It was not our intention. Myself and my colleagues at the Public Health Unit were working very hard on this. We did what we could. And if we could do it again, it would be very different.
She had been under attack by the Commissioner.
That there has been a reprehensible shortcoming in New South Wales Health.
After admitting she knew the Ruby Princess was not quarantining sick passengers in breach of our health orders, but she says she felt powerless against the cruise company.
They follow their own protocols, and they've been very clear to us over the years that that's what they do.
Actually, you could find out whether they were following Australian protocols, couldn't you?
Yes, I can, yes.
And if they did not, deal with them accordingly, couldn't you?
Yes.
Which might mean that the disembarkation of their passengers and a quick turnaround for the next set of paying passengers would be impeded. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even before the Ruby Princess docked, the ship hadn't been telling health officials the whole story. The Commission revealing on March 18th, the ship's doctor produced its acute respiratory disease log, reporting only 104 passengers with respiratory symptoms and 36 more with an influenza-like illness. It meant by the afternoon it was considered a low risk of a COVID-19 outbreak and given clearance to dock.
The log sent at 9:30 a.m. on 18 March was not up to date for acute respiratory disease or influenza-like illness at the time the ship docked.
But before it did, the Port Authority itself tried to stop it arriving over COVID-19 concerns. That's when someone from the Department of Home Affairs called the Harbour Master, followed by a call from Border Force and one from the cruise company itself.
Shortly after, the same ABF officer rang the Harbour Master again and may have said that the ship could now proceed.
They didn't tell the Harbour Master what he or she should or shouldn't do. They've got no legislative authority to do that.
Just 48 hours later, the first Ruby Princess passenger would die from COVID-19. Who knew what and what they did and didn't do is now being laid bare. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Australia has joined 40 other countries in an online fundraising summit to develop a vaccine. The event, hosted by the European Union, raised $13 billion despite China and the US refusing to pledge a cent.
A vaccine can't come quickly enough, and with it an end to the COVID-19 nightmare. So world leaders have rallied for a good old-fashioned fundraiser.
At a time when we're sitting further apart than usual, the world has shown it is standing closer together than ever before.
Japan has pledged the equivalent of 1.2 billion Australian dollars, Germany about 900 million, and Australia is chipping in too.
G'day from Australia.
The total soon reaching about 13 billion Aussie dollars.
Today, Australia is pledging 352 million Australian dollars towards this global effort.
You are far away, but close to our hearts.
Australia, with its relatively low infection and death rates, is the envy of the world right now. America, where the death toll is highest, ignored the fundraiser. China too turned its back, even though it's where the outbreak began. Despite the lack of cooperation from the superpowers, the fundraiser is seen as a sign of hope that the world can work together. It was spearheaded by EU leaders. Over half of all COVID-19 deaths have occurred across the European continent. And it wasn't just countries pledging. Madonna chipped in nearly 2 million. Mega-rich couple Bill and Melinda Gates were generous too, offering about 155 million Aussie dollars.
The pandemic won't end until people everywhere can be immunised against it.
And life as we know it can return. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
New data obtained by 10 News First reveals the staggering number of serious assaults against frontline workers in Queensland. Thousands are being attacked on the job, and in the middle of a pandemic, those threats are now potentially deadly.
It is always disgusting. But assaulting, attacking, spitting on anyone is now more dangerous than ever.
Since the COVID-19 outbreak, we have seen a number of incidents where health staff were physically threatened, verbally threatened, and in some cases threatened with being sneezed, coughed or spat upon.
New figures released by the Queensland Sentencing Advisory Council reveal in the last decade more than 9,000 offenders have been sentenced for serious assault. From 2011, the number of cases has been steadily growing, now reaching more than 1,000 every year. It's an increase of 85%.
No one expects to go to work and be assaulted.
More than 5,000 police officers have been targeted on the job, making it the most dangerous profession. Other public officers and corrective services staff are also in the firing line, but one group is underrepresented in the data.
The person most likely to be assaulted in the workplace are those people working in the health sector, but they only form a very small minority of people that actually make complaints.
The most common offenders, overwhelmingly young men, the average age 26, but there are other factors at play.
Alcohol, drug addiction, socioeconomic deprivation, lack of education.
Of the cases that actually made it to court, the average custodial sentence was between 7 months and a year. The police union is now pushing for mandatory sentencing.
We just want to see some action instead of a slap on the wrist or a warning or a suspended sentence. It simply doesn't cut it.
John Paul Gonzo for 10 News First.
Coming up, thousands seek rate relief from City Hall as COVID-19 bites in Brisbane. Also, fears of going to hospital sends the number of home births skyrocketing. Plus, later, the magnets warning for all parents with little ones in lockdown. And is Broncos boss Paul White chasing the NRL's vacant CEO position? Find out in sport.
This is the toughest taste test ever.
Toughest taste test ever in MasterChef history. Of course it is. Why would they make it easy? I'm used to making pasta. This is completely different. This is so hard.
The toughest taste test elimination, 7:30 tonight.
At Bunnings, we're here to help with some simple projects you can do while you're at home, like getting started on that veggie patch. You can shop online, order what you need, and we'll bundle it up for you. It's like having the warehouse at your fingertips.
It's LTV for me.
It's LTV for me.
More and more people are saying it's LTV for me, because the LTV T60 4x4 diesel is from just $27,490 drive away. And eligible businesses may be able to claim the government instant asset write-off. Hurry, offer ends May 31.
Huddling at home? Try Domino's new Chicken Palmy on Deep Pan. With 22 succulent chicken pieces and crispy rasher bacon from just $15 delivered. Order now with total peace of mind thanks to zero contact delivery from Domino's.
Be your best blonde with Australia's #1 purple shampoo. Provoke Touch of Silver protects, enhances and brightens your blonde. Available at Woolworths, Coles, Priceline and Chemist Warehouse.
If you're a small business, you've probably got a lot of questions right now, which is why you should speak to a professional accountant who's trained in planning and cash flow management strategies. For further support, contact a professional accountant today.
Healthy morning habits help prepare you for the day ahead. Sustagen Hospital Formula Active contains the essential vitamins, minerals and quality protein your body needs to stay strong and active. Sustagen, it's never too late to start.
This is for the hundreds of thousands of folks that keep racing going. Because just like you, we love it. And happily give back 4 times more than any of our competitors to keep them running. That money supports track workers, apprentices, farriers, caterers and more, right here. And that's worth backing. TAB. Long may we play.
Know when to stop, don't go over the top, gamble responsibly.
My husband is at it again.
It's the new Aussie drama that the critics are absolutely loving.
She's meant to be a mate?
I can explain that.
The new season, How to Stay Married, on 10. The happy couple return tonight after MasterChef.
Good afternoon. Well, just on our way to check out a nasty crash involving a car, a motorbike and a power pole. That's on Ipswich Road, around Eckerman Road through Annerley. Also on Bracken Street through Bracken Ridge. That's blocked off there, as you can see. Both ends by the police with a burst water main and emergency repairs are happening right now. On Gympie Road, that's doing okay as you make your way up through Bald Hills. And a nice looking sunset around tonight. Heading over the city, we're looking pretty good on the Riverside Expressway and the Captain Cook Bridge out onto Coronation Drive, moving through quite nicely. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to ABC Reading Eggs and Georgie. Another check of the roads coming up later in the bulletin.
We will see you again soon. Thank you, Dave. A staggering number of Brisbane ratepayers have applied for deferrals as the cost of coronavirus continues to mount. More than 4,000 households and businesses have received payment relief totalling around $31 million.
While there's a significant number, in terms of the overall number of ratepayers, it is relatively small at this point, being less than 1%.
The Lord Mayor says council is bracing for more ratepayers to seek help. There's been a surge in the number of expectant mothers keen to give birth at home. The rate of inquiries is up 500% as many women opt to avoid hospitals due to coronavirus concerns.
Hello, how's it going? Good, thanks.
Alicia's expecting baby number 2 any time now and has opted to give birth at home with her midwife.
Actually, I made the decision before the corona pandemic hit. Just wanted to have a really natural, nice, calm birth at home.
But coronavirus concerns have been front of mind for many expectant mums, worried the hospital environment poses too great a contamination risk.
You know, sheltering at home, maintaining that distance from the hordes.
Midwife services across Australia say the rate of inquiries about home birthing is up a massive 500%.
Especially initially when it really became evident that coronavirus was going to be quite something to be concerned about.
The numbers coincide with International Day of the Midwife, prompting a well done from one of the country's top medicos and an assurance our hospitals are safe.
And hospitals are safe places. Hospitals have been planning now for months, especially those that deliver babies, to give you and your baby and your family a completely safe experience. So.
The Midwives Union says all the work has been done to make this invaluable service just as available to expectant mothers in the public hospital system as it is in the private system. However, that critical funding tick from the federal government is still to be given.
What we do see is that, you know, women get duck shoved from one system to another, pushed back into GP land when that's not what is best for them.
Currently, there is no Medicare rebate available in the public hospital system. Tim Collins for 10 News First.
Some confidence is returning to the early learning sector, with Australia's largest provider reporting a big spike in attendance. But the picture isn't quite as rosy for the smaller players, many of whom are struggling to stay afloat.
Cooper Stafford is enjoying seeing some old faces at daycare.
Is it nice to have your friends all back at school now? You get to see all your friends again?
Yeah. A lot of them went missing in action when the pandemic struck, but now they're returning. In fact, Good Start Early Learning says in the past 2 weeks, attendance rates have risen by around 20%.
As time's gone on, people have come to understand that childcare centres are really good at infectious disease control.
A month ago, the industry was in bad shape as families removed children from centres. The government swooped in with a relief package, making childcare free so parents could continue working during the pandemic.
We are able to use the money that we're saving to put towards paying off our bills.
The scheme also allowed the big players to keep their doors open. But with a recession looming, Good Start is calling on the government to make it easier for parents to access subsidies once restrictions are lifted.
In a high unemployment economy, it's those children that are most vulnerable that are the ones that are likely to miss out on the subsidy.
Other providers are worried they won't even make it through the next few months. Some of the smaller not-for-profits who didn't qualify for the JobKeeper payment are now in dire straits.
Some of those services are really struggling to actually meet their fortnightly payrolls, to keep their staff employed, to work with the children that are in their services, enrolled in their services.
A top-up payment for those providers was announced last week, but it could be weeks before they receive that relief. Brendan Savage for 10 News First.
The Australian Air Force has unveiled its latest aircraft, the first to be designed and built locally for more than 50 years. The Loyal Wingman drone is capable of assisting manned aircraft while also going on missions itself. It's being developed by Boeing and the Air Force as part of a $40 million partnership. Well, time now for an early weather check. Josh, another perfect autumn day.
It certainly was, Georgie. After another cool start this morning, the mercury dipped down to around about 6 degrees at Ipswich, 4 below average for this time of year, but the afternoons absolutely glorious, warm out there and also plenty of sunshine about. We had the odd shower, though, off the southeast coast during this afternoon, thanks to this high pressure system directing onshore winds along the Queensland coast. Most of the activity, as mentioned, has been offshore. We have seen a couple of millimetres fall around areas like Springbrook and Coolangatta water, picking up around about 1 millimetre into the gauge since 9 o'clock this morning. Brisbane, though, remaining dry with a top 25 degrees today, one above average for this time of year. We hit 23 on the sunny coast, 24 degrees at the Gold Coast and at Logan. A little bit warmer further west for Ipswich, reaching 26, and Toowoomba reached a top of 21 this afternoon. Of course, I'll be back to 5 to 6 with all the week's weather details. Georgie?
We'll see you then. Thanks, Josh. Ahead, elation as Italians get their first taste of freedom in 2 months. Also, the heart-stopping moment a car flips into the path of a pedestrian. And free to roam through lockdown streets, the bizarre sight in Turkey.
As a parent, you ask, what's the best way to support my child? From first words to gaining confidence for new adventures, you're right there by their side. Wherever they are on their learning journey, ABC Reading Eggs is there to help you. Start your ABC Reading Eggs journey today.
Is everyone here ready to take things to the max?
What do you do if you're married to a man like this?
My husband is at it again.
Well, you write a book about him.
Everyone, please put your hands together for Emily Butler, author of soon-to-be bestseller, My Husband.
Is this meant to be me?
I can explain that.
I've just got some reading to do.
New How to Stay Married, tonight after MasterChef.
Amy has always helped Australians get back on the road. But now, more than ever, it's vital those on the front line get to where they need to be. That's why we're now offering free roadside assist to all doctors, nurses and first responders Australia-wide until the end of the year. Amy and non-Amy customers. Here's to supporting the everyday heroes who are supporting the rest of us. To take advantage of this offer, go to amy.com.au.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Make your home a sanctuary with distinctive luxury homewares up to 75% off with Canning Bell's Luxury for Less sale. Shop online with code FREE for fast free shipping and a 100-day home trial. Limited time only. CanningBell.com.
Look after your health online at health365.com.au with over 700 of your favourite Australian-owned health, vitamin and skincare products online, home delivered fast. Buy smart, buy Australian. Online at health365.com.au.
Right now, knowing where you stand financially is more important than ever.
But with so many different benefits, rebates and concessions, it can be confusing.
That's why there's Benefits Finder in your CommBank app. In seconds, we can help you find the benefits you may be eligible for.
It's just one of the ways we're doing more things for more people. Together.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase.
BP Rewards.
Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
Controversy here in the forgotten grocery bag lifting. Russia disqualified unexpected item in the bagging area.
He tried to put that Evo through as a brown onion and got busted.
The value we get from my budget is incredible. People ask us what kind of fees we pay. I honestly don't notice because we've never had so much money.
Call my budget today.
This is the toughest taste test ever.
This is so hard.
I just can't do it.
The toughest taste test elimination tonight.
Hello there. There's plenty of economic news today that directly affects every single Australian household. First, unemployment. Bureau of Statistics payroll data shows almost 1 million jobs have disappeared thanks to COVID-19. A 7.5% drop in 5 weeks, almost 200,000 lost in just 1 week. Wages have suffered too. Accommodation and food, the biggest hit sectors, with a third or more than 310,000 jobs now gone. More females lost their jobs, but male wages fell further. Despite all this, consumer confidence has grown for a 5th straight week. More Australians are now feeling better about their finances and the economy. Researchers attributing the rise to easing restrictions and a drop-off in COVID-19 patient numbers. But less people are willing to risk putting their home on the market. Residential property listings across the country dropped almost 5% in April. That's down almost 12% compared to 12 months ago. Sydney, the capital city with the most significant yearly decline in listings, down almost 20%. And as expected, the Reserve Bank has decided to hold its course and keep interest rates on hold at a record low of 0.25%. To the share market, it ended the day in positive territory. Construction group giant James Hardie did well despite downgrading its profits, suspending dividends and closing 3 plants, including one here in Australia. A quick look at the dollar. It's up against all of the major currencies. And that's finance.
Italy has begun to stir again, with millions allowed to return to work for the first time since early March. The easing of the world's longest COVID-19 lockdown also saw parks reopen and families reunite. But with more than 29,000 people killed by the virus, life is still far from what it was.
Italy's historic centre is on the path to recovery.
I've been really excited about going out today, and it seems like there's life in Rome again.
Stephanie Burford is a 35-year-old nurse from Adelaide studying a master's in Rome. She didn't rush home for the lockdown because she didn't expect the situation to become so devastating.
It's very difficult for the businesses, also for all the people that have lost their lives, for the doctors and nurses.
But with the death toll and infection rate now declining, the country has moved to phase 2. Residents can finally venture outside.
Going out is incredible. It really is a great feeling. For now, it's precious, even if you can get out and go for a bike ride.
Big sectors of the economy like construction and manufacturing will restart, but most shops won't reopen until late May, and hairdressers and restaurants will have to wait until June.
At this location in the center of Rome, we have to spend a lot of money for the rent, and in this moment, without the tourists, without the people that come from another country, we have to close.
Travel is still only allowed within Italy's regions, and international visitors may not return until next year. The government says the crisis isn't over yet, and that stage 2 is about learning to live with the virus, so restrictions such as masks and social distancing will continue to be enforced. But for now, at least grandparents can once again hug their grandchildren. I can't even speak for how excited I am, says this grandfather. A glimmer of light after 2 very dark months. Hermione Kitson for 10 News First, Rome.
New modelling predicts 3,000 Americans a day will die from coronavirus by June, a 70% increase from forecasts a couple of weeks ago. The dire predictions come as half of all US states reopen in some way. Florida has recorded more than 1,300 deaths as it reopens restaurants.
We have to be adults and make our decisions where we're not going to harm anybody, but we still have to support the community.
The US wants to borrow more than $4.5 trillion to fund rescue packages in the second quarter of this year. It's more than 5 times the record set during the GFC. In the UK, a security camera has captured the moment a pedestrian narrowly avoided being wiped out by a rolling car. The Audi clipped the back of a truck, which sent it hurling down the road. Fortunately, the man was quick to react after hearing the commotion, ditching his groceries and sprinting out of the way. Hundreds of sheep have overtaken a town in Turkey amid its lockdown. A shepherd led the huge flock through the normally busy streets, with many stopping to graze on the grassy pavements. Residents could only watch their town being overrun from their homes due to Turkey's strict quarantine measures. Well, stay with us. Tonight's top stories follow the break. Also, the crew of the Flying Kangaroo remains grounded for longer. And a toddler lucky to be alive after swallowing more than 30 magnets. The warning to all parents.
Tonight, an inquiry reveals the major mistake that led to the Ruby Princess infection disaster.
A look into the staggering cost of coronavirus. How can we get the economy back on its feet?
And we cross to our New Zealand project pals to talk about plans for a trans-Tasman travel bubble. Luckily, I've been brushing up on my Kiwi accent.
Oh, yeah?
We want your Prime Minister, bro.
What? His choice,
I've
eh?
got to brush up on that.
Well, that and more coming up at 6:30.
Terrible.
Bro.
This is the toughest taste test ever.
Toughest taste test ever in MasterChef history. Of course it is. Why would they make it easy?
I'm used to making pasta. This is completely different. This is so hard.
The toughest taste test elimination, 7:30 tonight.
Lendy is helping thousands of households save on average about $2,832 in interest over the next year on their home loans. That's millions in savings for Aussies when they need it most. How can Lendy help you save?
A lot of us are spending more time at home.
Ow.
Using a lot more electricity and internet. Unfortunately, iSelect can't help with your naked partner walking past your big presentation. But we could help shrink those household bills. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect on 13 19 20.
The good guys know the new Dyson V11 Outsize has the most powerful suction of any cordless vacuum with a 25% wider, cleaner head and a 150% bigger bin. Come in store to see the Dyson V11 Outsize and remember, pay less every day at the good guys.
Dad, we might need to pick up some more bread.
Dad.
I'll pick some up.
Thanks.
Now more than ever, we know what families are going through. So you can pick up Cold Power Advanced 1.8 to 2 litre or 1.8 to 2 kilo, now just $8.75. Find them all in our online catalogue. We want you to always get your Woolies worth.
That's why I pick Woolies.
And welcome back to the Sportsbet Elite Average Games. Last chance for the Aussies, bombing for gold.
They need to pull something big out of their budgies here, JB.
Oh, silly salmon into a horsey! Massive!
I've never seen one in the wild, but that is splash tag ridiculous.
Scores are in, and they've done it!
Showers of gold.
A make-it-look-easy moment from Sportsbet.
At Palm Lake Resort, luxury over 50s designer living has arrived. Enjoy exclusive access to world-class leisure facilities. Luxury designer homes available right now. Take a virtual tour of our display homes on our website. This is your time.
Introducing Jumpstart by Light and Easy, the simple program that will help fast-track your weight loss success, improve your health, and have your taste buds jumping for joy. Jumpstart your weight loss and health goals today with Light and Easy.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points for every BP purchase.
BP Rewards.
Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
My husband is at it again.
She's meant to be with me?
Yeah.
New How to Stay Married, tonight on 10.
Hello
again, as we wrap things up tonight, not a good run through Annerley tonight, especially on a motorbike. We've got a couple of separate motorbike accidents here through Annerley. This one's on Annerley Road around Fairfield Road through Annerley for that inbound run, keeping traffic very slow behind that. And also Ipswich Road, the one we were telling you about earlier, just around Eckerburn Road. There was a car involved, a motorbike and a power pole. Energex are on site. They're getting that fixed up. Got some big delays too, with a couple of lanes out of action. Delays all the way back past the PA Hospital. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to ABC Reading Eggs. Have a great night tonight, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Tonight's top stories, the mammoth task of getting 1 million Australians back to work, with the PM flagging major announcements on easing restrictions on Friday. The path out of COVID-19 can't come soon enough, with business groups demanding to know how the Premier plans to get the economy going again. And another devastating blow for the Newmarch nursing home in Sydney, where another death has pushed the centre's toll to 16. Qantas shares rose today, with the airline declaring it has enough funds to hold out until the end of next year. But the airline admits it's burning through millions of dollars a day. Their big hope is a kickstart to domestic and trans-Tasman flights before it's too late.
Some relief for travellers and airlines today, with the hope domestic and trans-Tasman flights might resume, perhaps in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
When we're seeing Australians travel from Melbourne to Cairns at about that time, I would expect, everything being equal, that we'd be able to, fly from Melbourne to Auckland.
When we feel comfortable and confident that we both won't receive cases from Australia, but equally that we won't export them, then that will be the time to move.
To tide itself over, Qantas has found another $500 million through taking loans against more of its aircraft, and extended out its staff stand-downs for at least another month. Qantas and Jetstar domestic cancellations have been extended to the end of June. International cancellations, other than to New Zealand, now extend to the end of July. It is a mixed message. Qantas boss Alan Joyce saying, "We're optimistic that domestic travel will start returning earlier than first thought. But apart from New Zealand, international travel demand could take years to return to what it was." The Kiwis are certainly busting for those flights to return.
Look, they're getting the ski fields ready in Queenstown. Tourism people tend to be optimistic, and so they're getting the snow groomers up there and the snowmaking machines. They're getting ready.
After howls of protest, Qantas has improved its travel credits for people whose flights have been cancelled, but lawyers still insist they should get cash refunds. The message from Qantas to the market today is that it will survive, even burning through more than $40 million a week in cash. It says it has enough funds to see it through to the end of next year. And by the end of next week, we'll know how many of those 20 potential bidders for Virgin are really serious about buying that airline.
That 90% of people probably don't know that this is their entitlement and won't go through to the effort of getting their money back.
Since threatening a class action against the airlines yesterday, law firm Slater and Gordon says the phones have been running hot.
And in just the past 24 hours, we've been contacted by over 1,000 people who are suffering from these conditions.
Perhaps in time, some justice for travellers, but another potential drain on the airline's cash reserves. Hugh Riminton for 10 News First.
Coles will resume its pre-coronavirus trading hours, with the supply of essential groceries returning to normal. From Friday, the dedicated community hour for the elderly, vulnerable and healthcare workers will be scrapped. Almost 200 stores nationwide will also open their doors earlier, from 6 a.m. The supermarket giant says safety and sanitisation measures will remain in place to protect customers and staff. A 2-year-old girl is lucky to be alive after the toddler swallowed 32 magnetic balls from a toy. It's the 4th time in 3 weeks a child has almost died from ingesting the magnets. And surgeons fear the spike has been caused by our isolation.
She may be small, but Imogen Ferguson has put up a mighty fight. On Thursday, she ate 32 magnetic balls from a toy like this one. Her mum had no idea until Imogen became sick and she took her to hospital. An X-ray revealed what had happened.
Oh, I cried and cried, yeah. I felt pretty guilty.
2-year-old Imogen needed emergency surgery.
And what happens is you have a magnet in one area of the bowel and another magnet in another area, and they attract each other and burn a hole through.
Across 2 hours, Imogen's bowel and her life were saved.
Obviously, you can't keep an eye on them 24/7.
Imogen's surgeon says children are swallowing them more frequently since the pandemic began and families started isolating.
This particular toy is a serious hazard.
In the past 3 weeks, 4 life-saving surgeries have been performed on Melbourne children who had swallowed magnetic balls. The youngest was just 18 months old, and doctors are concerned that soon they'll get a patient they cannot save.
These are catastrophic injuries with multiple holes in the bowel, that it can erode into blood vessels, and we're concerned that a child may die from this.
Imogen's older sister also ate 2 of the balls, but they passed naturally. Her surgeon says for some reason the magnets are appealing to small mouths.
They clearly are smooth, they're clearly cold, and so they feel nice at the back of the throat.
Parents are being urged to carefully monitor the use of the toys to make sure the magnets aren't swallowed. Candice Wyatt for 10 News First.
Well, it is sport time now, Jono. Could Paul White be Todd Greenberg's replacement?
He was very careful with his words today, Georgie. Thank you. Later on, coming up, the Broncos CEO addresses rumours of a move to NRL HQ. Also, let there be light. Can this man save Supercars and Australian rugby? Plus, a current and former world #1 take tennis to new heights.
As a parent, you ask, what's the best way to support my child? From first words to gaining confidence for new adventures, you're right there by their side. Wherever they are in their learning journey, ABC Reading Eggs is there to help you. Start your ABC Reading Eggs journey today.
Comedian Ross Noble's bringing the laughs next.
What do you do if you're married to a man like this?
My husband is at it again.
Well, you write a book about him.
She's meant to be your mate?
I can explain that.
It's got some reading to do.
New How to Stay Married, tonight after MasterChef.
Suncorp has been supporting Queenslanders through life's ups and downs for over 100 years. And while 2020 is proving to be one of the toughest yet, we're here to support our customers more than ever. So, if you're a Suncorp customer in need of financial support, visit suncorp.com.au. Supporting you when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Refrigerators have come a long way over the years, from just a place to keep your food cold and your drinks chilled. This higher French door fridge is no exception. Customised to suit your lifestyle, the MyZone adjustable temperature drawer adapts to suit a range of different environments. Simply choose the appropriate setting, whether you're chilling your drinks, storing meat and poultry, or seafood. The choice is yours. The higher French door fridge, smart and practical, and designed to make your life easier. National Product Review, making life easier.
At Drake's, the health of our customers and team is paramount. That's why we've partnered with Academy Services to use NanoSen, a natural spray that kills 99.9% of pathogens. Drake's are committed to providing our customers with a safe shopping environment.
When headaches hold you back, try Nurofen Quicksorb. Its advanced formula absorbs quickly, relieving headaches fast. For quick, effective pain relief, choose Nurofen Quicksorb.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase.
BP Rewards.
Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
At Domino's, we pride ourselves on handcrafted pizzas, but after leaving our 265-degree ovens, the only hands that touch them are yours. Try any large pizza from just $15 delivered with zero contact delivery from Domino's.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
This is the toughest taste test ever.
This is so hard.
I just can't do it.
The toughest taste test elimination tonight.
Good evening. If the NRL wants Paul White as Todd Greenberg's successor, then they'll have to come calling. The Broncos boss today stopped short of ruling himself out of contention, but conceded the game will headhunt their next CEO.
As the boss of the NRL's richest club, Paul White's resume speaks for itself.
To be honest, it's not a role I've ever coveted, and I think you guys know me well enough to know that, and my focus is very much on the Broncos.
His Broncos deal is due to expire at the end of the year, though he's vowed to see the club through the pandemic. Either way, he won't be dusting off his CV anytime soon, despite the vacancy at NRL headquarters.
If someone thinks you're good enough to do it, someone reaches out to you. It's certainly, I don't think it's a job that demands a CV goes into someone's in tray. I think people have had fair line of sight over me.
The Broncos board moved quickly to tighten their budget, slashing White's $800,000 salary by 50% and cutting almost 24 jobs in a bid to survive to next season.
Because we acted early and we acted in advance maybe of some others, our club's in a good position. We'll come out the other side of this strong. So, I mean, there's no threat to our survival as long as the game survives.
Changes the rest of the competition will inevitably have to make once their funding models are finalised in the coming weeks.
In the fullness of time, our game will look different at the, when we get through this, and it probably needs to look different because there's some lessons to be learned.
Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
Melbourne's relocation to the border town of Albury is creating a storm with the local council. At an extraordinary meeting tonight, council could vote against the storm stay due to community safety concerns. They aren't allowed to train in Victoria, so had to cross the border. Now, council backlash means they could be forced to head to Sydney.
We've been kept across that. Obviously, they'll be worked through with the people responsible for those decisions, and Melbourne are still moving towards going to Albury.
Relief for the NRL today. Latrell Mitchell tested negative to COVID-19. So did teammates Adam Reynolds, Liam Knight and Roosters coach Trent Robinson. Supercars chairman Peter Wiggs has in a short time become one of the most important operators in Australian rugby. After recently being elected on the board, the finance power broker is now being touted as the code's next chairman.
He's a man of two different sports that are poles apart, but both on the skids. Now Supercars chairman Peter Wiggs is tipped to sign on to play the same role at Rugby Australia.
There's talk about you might be wanting to be the executive chairman?
No. I'm happy to work as part of a team at Rugby Australia, but this is my main focus.
Peter V'landys has proven he can wear two hats at once as he navigates an NRL return while still running Racing New South Wales. Wiggs has already made his mark with cash-strapped rugby as a director, taking the lead in negotiating a quick pay deal with the players.
A lot of people are saying that you can be the saviour of Australian rugby. Is that true?
There'll be a lot of saviours of Australian rugby, but it will succeed.
After CEO Raylene Castle pulled the plug on her rugby reign, a get-together was organised with two former Wallabies captains about future direction.
You had a meeting with Nick Farr-Jones and Phil Kearns last week. What did you talk about?
That's confidential.
Today, it was all about the further transformation of Sydney Motorsport Park, which will now have the ability to operate both day and night. The first of 132 light towers installed, but with coronavirus bringing supercars to a halt, broadcast rights beyond 2020 still up in the air, and Holden's shutdown, the future seems in the pits.
Our focus is the immediate championship that's in front of us, getting that delivered, and then we'll change gears once we get going again.
There's always going to be history, and there's always going to be a legacy, and that's good. It'll continue to be successful.
Michael Kane for 10 News First.
Ash Barty and Pat Rafter have taken to the skies for a hit of extreme tennis. With a pop-up court on the helipad of the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, the Aussie superstars gave COVID-19 nurses a chance to escape from the stress of the pandemic.
Oh, it was incredible. I think Trish and Michelle lied to us a little bit when they said they hadn't played before, but it was a lot of fun.
And every now and then when the ball went wide, you didn't really want to go for it too much. It was a bit of a drop-off and a consequence.
The current and former world number ones also tour the hospital's unit where Brisbane's cases have been tested. Australian women's vice-captain Rachel Haynes admits she hasn't picked up a bat since the T20 World Cup final. Physically and mentally exhausted after a hectic season, the national team played a whopping 31 matches in the space of 8 months. The forced lockdown has helped her refresh.
I was really looking forward to a break. I'd hit a lot of balls up until that tournament. So, yeah, it certainly feels like, I'm definitely missing it. I'm looking forward to getting back in the nets again.
When that happens, she says the team's preparing to train in smaller groups to minimise close contact. We've seen athletes taking it to the extreme to get a workout in during the coronavirus crisis, but Detroit Lions running back Ty Johnson took things up a notch.
Come on. Good.
All we can say is jeepers. Talk about going the extra mile for gains. So for toughing it out, Ty can haul in our play of the day. I love watching workouts online, but that's one I won't be doing, I don't think.
Oh, looks like it would hurt your back afterwards, wouldn't it? Thanks, Jono. Coastal showers on the way. Josh has all the details next.
Could Trans-Tasman travel work for New Zealand and Australia?
This is the toughest taste test ever.
Toughest taste test ever in MasterChef history. Of course it is. Why would they make it easy?
I'm used to making pasta. This is completely different. This is so hard.
The toughest taste test elimination, 7:30 tonight.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Boating, cabin, fishing is BCF and fun.
We're currently open and here to help. Or buy online with free delivery on orders over $99. And with contact-free click and collect, you just stay in your car. Nice!
Ready for a change? Suncorp now has 0 monthly account keeping fees on all deposit accounts. That's on both personal accounts and business accounts. That's the Suncorp spirit.
The espresso capsule from Law, the aluminium capsule designed to fit your Nespresso machine. Discover Law capsules and be captivated by a gold standard espresso.
But it's beer o'clock at the Copacabana.
No, they're not cold.
It's chill. I just ordered a taxi box cool room. They deliver to any party, restaurant or event. We chill, then after, they come pick it up.
Good one, Max.
When's everyone arriving?
Bob Jane T-Mart's Bigger Better Deals. Instant cashback on a wide range of passenger, performance, SUV and 4x4 tyres. At Bob Jane T-Mart's, we'll look after you.
Hello Fresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. Hello Fresh. Inspiration delivered.
Hyundai's end of financial year sale is on. Get great value across our eye-catching range. Like the Hyundai i30 hatch with the confidence of a 7-year warranty. And end of financial year bonuses on selected SUVs, including the Hyundai Tucson. And 7-seat petrol V6 Hyundai Santa Fe. Hyundai's end of financial year sale. See it to believe it.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
It is weather time now, Josh. The chance of a shower tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. We shouldn't see too much across parts of Brisbane. I think those showers will be favouring those coastal areas once again, in particular around areas of the sunny coast. We'll get to that in a few seconds. Firstly, to the weather cam, where today in the city we hit top temps at 25 degrees, one above average for this time of year after an overnight low of 13, although Ipswich a little bit cooler, getting down around about 6 degrees overnight, 4 below. Right now in the CBD, sitting at 20 degrees, humidity at 52%, and the winds relatively light at around about 7 kilometres per hour. Diving into the satellite tonight, plenty of cloud cover in and across areas of WA that's associated with the cold front, moving across the southwest, and as you can see here, we've got some cloud off the east coast of Australia. Now that is developing all due to onshore winds, all thanks to a high pressure system. We'll look at that in a moment, but firstly, let's duck in with the southeast radar, looking at these showers which have been mostly offshore as we got through Tuesday, although we have seen one or two of those showers move across parts of the Gold Coast. Coolangatta picking up around about 1 millimetre into the rain gauge, but further north, up around parts of Noosa, we have seen 10 millimetres into the gauges since 9 o'clock this morning. Moving into the synoptic chart, and you can see here the high pressure system causing those showers. It maintains its position tomorrow over parts of New South Wales and the east coast, and wind spin anti-clockwise around a high, of course, and that is producing that onshore flow for the Queensland coast. So as a result of that, showers should persist. We've got a cold front here moving across the southern coastline of WA, but we'll have a look at these showers to the Queensland coast, which will be favouring areas of the tropics and also the southern coastline tomorrow. Don't think we'll see too much around areas of the central coast, Capricornia and Wide Bay. As mentioned, the far southeast, certainly a chance around parts of the sunny coast. In fact, showers are on the forecast as we get through Wednesday. Interstate now, and Sydney, top temperatures tomorrow of 23 degrees, clear skies and sunshine. Chilly start in Canberra, getting down to 3 overnight. A sunny day on the way for Melbourne, 19. Partly cloudy for Adelaide, hitting 22, and the chance of showers for Perth with 18 degrees. Fine and sunny with 34 degrees for Darwin. Closer to home, we've got the chance of a shower for Cairns tomorrow and Atherton, hitting 28 and 21 degrees. 29 the top for Longreach tomorrow, 27 for Roma, and the chance of a shower for Bundaberg, Maryborough and even Gympie, hitting 25 degrees. For the southeast, it will be partly cloudy tomorrow. The high chance of showers near the coast, just a slight chance elsewhere. Overnight temperatures falling to between 10 and 15 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching the low to mid-20s. So a shower or two for the Gold Coast, 25 degrees. Showers for the sunny coast and 24. Just a slight chance of a shower for Logan, hitting 25 degrees for Wednesday. Out on the bay, we've got south to southeasters, around about 15 to 20 knots. They'll start to ease back as we get through the afternoon, and the sea's hovering around about the metre mark. In Brisbane City, 25, one above average. A shower or two, but it should start to clear as we get through the morning, early afternoon, and then we're looking dry skies Thursday and Friday. 25, 26 degrees, staying that way Saturday. Just a slight chance of a shower at this stage Sunday. For Ipswich, we're looking at 26 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy due to Ipswich being a little bit further inland. It won't really feel the presence of those showers like our coastal areas. 27 the top for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a little bit warmer as we get to Sunday. The extended forecast for the Golden Sunshine Coast coming up shortly.
Getting Australians back to work, that's the story headlining 10 News First. The PM says more than 1 million people need to find a way back into the workforce, with the cost of coronavirus now topping $4 billion every week. Queensland businesses demand the Premier outlines the next step to easing restrictions, with many pushed to the brink of collapse. And the movie makers trying to take a chunk out of shark control programs in Queensland. The Prime Minister has made it clear some big announcements are coming on Friday around easing COVID-19 restrictions. He's hinted cafes and restaurants could be among the first to reopen. But the priority now for National Cabinet is getting 1 million Australians back to work.
From welcoming the New Zealand Prime Minister to the National Cabinet.
Well, it was great to have the Prime Minister Ardern there with us today.
To discuss our experience with COVID-19 on both sides of the ditch, what we can learn from one another.
To Josh Frydenberg's address to the National Press Club.
With Treasury forecasting a fall of over 10% in the June quarter, equivalent to $50 billion.
The focus of the government today very much on opening up the economy and dealing with some of the economic fallout from the crisis.
The National Cabinet are not in any way unaware of the serious implications of the decisions that we've had to take now over many months.
The forecast fall in GDP together with the employment effects of the health restrictions, have seen Treasury forecast that the unemployment rate is likely to double.
The Prime Minister keen to get things opened up to benefit the economy.
We now need to get 1 million Australians back to work. That is the curve that we need to address.
We'll learn more on Friday about exactly how each state will act to open up their economy. But there is growing resistance within Victoria and a sense within the federal government that they may well choose to go it alone.
The Queensland government is under mounting pressure to release clear deadlines to reopen the state's economy. As state political reporter Claire Barnes explains, the Premier is insisting the roadmap to recovery is well underway.
Well, after releasing a plan to send some students back to school, the Premier says she's focused on restarting the economy. Today, Anastasia Palaszczuk indicated easing travel restrictions could begin with holidays close to home and short-stay accommodation within Queensland only. It comes as the tourism sector calls for clearer deadlines and benchmarks for the gradual reopening of the industry.
Looking forward to seeing a date when there is a bit of light on the horizons and we can open our doors again.
I'd like to see a recovery plan, full stop, end of story. I think the community want to see it.
The Premier says those plans are well underway and she's meeting with the industry this week. She's also in talks with representatives from restaurants and cafes. Now, there's no set time frame for those businesses, but they should be getting ready.
And what I would be hoping that they would start formulating is COVID-safe plans. So what does it mean in this new COVID world to open up safely?
Well, even when more sectors of the economy eventually open up, the Premier confirmed today that social distancing will be part of our lives until there's a vaccine.
A New South Wales health official has given a teary apology over a litany of mistakes made before the Ruby Princess docked in Sydney. A special commission heard quarantine protocols weren't followed and the onboard doctor sent an inaccurate log of sick people.
I'm very sorry it turned out the way it did. It was not our intention. Myself and my colleagues at the Public Health Unit were working very hard on this. We did what we could. And if we could do it again, it would be very different.
21 deaths and more than 660 cases can be traced to the Ruby Princess. An increasing number of Queenslanders are being seriously assaulted, according to new data. As John Paul Gonzo explains, frontline workers are being targeted with a shocking number of police attacked.
9,061. That's the staggering number of offenders who have been sentenced for serious assaults over the past decade. New data reveals cases are increasing every year. In 2018-19, there was 1,339 over a 10-year period. It's an increase of 85%. What's even more concerning, the people who help us are being targeted. More than 5,000 police have been attacked, hundreds of other public officers and also corrective services staff.
The person most likely to be assaulted in the workplace are those people working in the health sector. But they only form a very small minority of people that actually make complaints.
The overwhelming majority of offenders are young men around 26 years old. The police union wants to see harsher penalties, including the introduction of mandatory sentencing.
We just want to see some action. Instead of a slap on the wrist or a warning or a suspended sentence, it simply doesn't cut it.
Extra protections are now in place because of COVID-19.
Those fines can be more than $1,300 on the spot, or if you go to court, more than $13,000.
The Sentencing Advisory Council wants frontline workers to share their experiences to shape recommendations that will be presented to the government.
There are calls for the government's childcare handouts to continue once restrictions are lifted amid the threat of a post-pandemic recession. As Brendan Savage reports, it comes as parents begin sending their children back to daycare.
Australia's 13,000 childcare and early learning centres were hit hard by the pandemic, but there are signs of recovery. Good Start, the country's largest early learning provider, says in the past 2 weeks, the number of children attending their centres has risen by around 20%.
We're having significant uplift in our inquiries from new families, so there's early signs that people are looking to get back to normal.
Last month, the federal government made childcare free to allow parents to continue working during the pandemic.
It was pretty vital for us in able to still make a living and provide for the children.
Providers like Good Start now receive half their revenue through taxpayer funds, together with the JobKeeper wage subsidy to keep on existing staff. Good Start says ongoing funding support will be needed even when restrictions are lifted.
In a high unemployment economy, it's those children that are most vulnerable that are the ones that are likely to miss out on the subsidy.
But some not-for-profit operators will struggle to even get through the next few months, having slipped through the cracks of the government's safety net as they don't meet the criteria for the JobKeeper payment.
So any gap in receipt of those funds makes it really challenging to meet just your day-to-day running costs.
The Education Minister Dan Tehan has announced top-up payments to tide them over, and a broader review of the subsidy scheme is underway.
A shocking new documentary is set to stir up debate about Queensland's shark control program. The feature-length film is set to draw international attention to measures currently in place, claiming they're destroying our marine ecosystem and putting lives at risk.
It's the daring and dramatic documentary claiming to expose what really goes on beneath the surface. Compiling 7 years of footage, the feature-length movie Envoy Cull takes a bite out of our state's shark control program.
Its intention is to kill sharks, to cull them.
Baited drumlines and nets were first implemented off Queensland beaches in 1962. The state government says since then there's been just one fatal shark attack off a protected beach.
I think one of the most important things people need to remember is that shark attacks do still happen at beaches that are netted.
The footage is graphic and at times confronting.
When you look at the programs holistically between New South Wales and Queensland, there's actually been 2 fatalities and over 50 bites at so-called protected beaches.
Conservationists claim the nets capture far more marine life than intended. The consequences deadly.
I think once people realise what's happening, how senseless the killing actually is, I think they should be outraged about what is happening to Australia's beautiful natural resources.
It's not pleasant watching, but I think it needs to be seen.
The Queensland government has committed $1 million a year to research alternative shark control measures.
Most people just don't know the truth, and if they did, I have to feel like they would make changes.
It's hoped Envoy Cull will be launched next month. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
Coming up, why a surprise fireworks display went ahead on the Gold Coast when no one knew about it. Plus, how to solve boredom in isolation, one puzzle at a time. And in sport, does Broncos boss Paul White want to be the next NRL CEO?
Jobs lost, business on hold, economies shut down. How much are Aussies paying for the pandemic? Plus, comedian Ross Noble joins us. We'll see you tonight.
Even though we need to stay inside, we can still keep moving. Even when you're not outside, you can still move like you are. Because even when spaces are limited, you can still move without limits.
When life gives you dirtiness, Godfrey's gives you cleanliness. With products to keep every surface free from spills, dirt and allergens. For a clean and healthy home, Godfrey's Cleanliness.
What if I get coronavirus?
How do I do my rehab now?
Why is it so hard to get out of bed? COVID-19 is impacting us all differently, which is why we've introduced Medibank COVID-19 Health Assist. With direct access to hundreds of healthcare experts, eligible members can receive health advice and support from their homes at no extra cost. Visit medibank.com.au to see how we're providing better support for our members.
We remain dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. Call us to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
the game that makes the most millionaires, is giving you 20 million more reasons to get super excited this Saturday. Gold Lotto's $20 million Super Draw Saturday. Play now in-store at thelot.com or the Lot app.
At Domino's, we pride ourselves on handcrafted pizzas, but after leaving our 265-degree ovens, the only hands that touch them are yours. Try any large pizza from just $15 delivered with zero contact delivery from Domino's.
Hester is a super fund that supports people whose work helps others. Their stories inspire us to give them a stronger financial future and a better world to retire into. It's our way of saying thank you.
Discover new details about your family history with Ancestry. Simply type in a name and let Ancestry guide you on a journey of discovery. Start searching for free at ancestry.com.au.
Oh, hey, how are you? Hey. I've lost a total of 10 kilos.
I've lost about 3 kilos with few foods.
40 kilos. So I'm not overly huge, but clearly I do carry weight.
Few foods helped me reach my Brisbane marathon goal.
Convenience, affordability.
We do talk about our favourites. The slow-cooked barbecue beef.
I had the pad thai and I was like, oh my God. The weight loss was just kind of like a side effect of being on new foods. It just sort of happened.
Your local Bunnings is here to help with Drive and Collect. You can shop online for a huge range of emergency repairs and maintenance essentials and pick them up without getting out of your car. We want to make it easy to get what you need. It's like having Bunnings at your fingertips.
Is everyone here ready to take things to the max?
What do you do if you're married to a man like this?
My husband is at it again.
Well, you write a book about him.
Everyone, please put your hands together for Emily Butler, author of soon-to-be bestseller, My Husband.
Is this meant to be me?
I can explain that.
It's got some reading to do.
New How to Stay Married, tonight after MasterChef.
A surprise fireworks display roared into life over Surfers Paradise last night to honour our healthcare workers. But questions are being raised about why it was held at all when no one knew it was coming.
Starting the week with a bang. Surfers Paradise residents were drawn to their balconies by the thunderous claps of an impromptu fireworks display. Businesses in the tourism hub pitched in a few $1,000s to launch the surprise display to coincide with Q1 Tower going green in honour of healthcare workers.
They are critical to us getting back to business in the coming months.
The tribute wasn't advertised to prevent crowds from gathering, leaving many to ask why bother.
There aren't that many people to see them at the moment. It might have been better to wait until we could all acknowledge the work of our great health workers when there are more people around to enjoy it.
Gold Coast Mayor Tom Tate says he wants to see a large-scale community event once restrictions are lifted.
There's plenty of other ways to really show the healthcare people that we care, and especially post-COVID-19. I'm very sure that as a community we'll be doing that.
For businesses that have reported losses of up to 80%, it was simply a thank you and a test run for future events that may save them.
As we see this roll out, we'd be very hopeful that we'll see more activations like this to actually draw people back into the precinct.
Throughout Surfers Paradise, businesses are on the brink, with up to 10,000 hotel rooms sitting vacant.
Until we open up hotels, we are in big strife in the Surfers Paradise precinct.
All looking to a time when they can come back bigger and brighter. Matthew Howard for 10 News First.
Families puzzled by how to make time fly in isolation have taken to the humble Jigsaw in droves. They only just seem to be piecing together what one couple has known for decades.
For 40 years, John Hayes and Jigsaw puzzles have been a perfect fit.
We went from small puzzles up to bigger puzzles and bigger until it got really out of control.
Like the 63-year-old's piece de resistance, a 32,000-piece mural of the New York skyline.
It was supposed to be my retirement puzzle, so I bought it for that, but then I thought, oh, well, I might as well start working on it, see how long it's going to take.
The answer, 15 months, but time is what many housebound families have had plenty of. For from early on when the restrictions began, and a few of the messages themselves were a little puzzling.
I can assure you over the next few months we're going to consider those jigsaw puzzles absolutely essential.
Turns out the Morrison household wasn't alone.
Everyone in Australia seems to be wanting to buy jigsaws, so all the suppliers have been pumping them out to everyone they can, so yeah, it's hard to find them at the moment.
Well, jigsaws continue to fly off the shelves, and it's no wonder, as the avid puzzle masters say they are the perfect way to stay mentally fit.
I find it very good for my mental health. Otherwise I'd be sitting watching telly all day and I'd go crazy.
In fact, that inner peace could be a secret to his 31-year marriage.
I'm quite happy for him to let me do my own thing. We don't have any fights or arguments that way, see? It's a very happy marriage.
And what next for a suburban gallery that boasts 99,000 individual pieces? A single puzzle with 54,000 more.
You'd need a lot of space to put that one up on the wall.
It should fit right in place. Josh Money for 10 News First.
I don't know if I'd have the patience for a jigsaw puzzle.
I love a good puzzle, especially right now.
Well, Jono's back now with another look at sport.
Thank you, Georgie. Hello again. Broncos CEO Paul White was careful not to rule himself out of contention to be the next NRL boss. White remains committed to his Brisbane club, but talked around any direct interest in applying for the NRL CEO role.
If someone thinks you're good enough to do it, someone reaches out to you. It's certainly, I don't think it's a job that demands a CV goes into someone's in-tray. I think people have had fair line of sight over me.
White's Broncos contract expires in October, though he's promised to see the club through the pandemic. A storm is brewing over Melbourne's relocation to the border town of Albury, with the club facing backlash from local council. An extraordinary meeting tonight. Council could vote against the storm's stay because of community safety concerns.
All packed and on the way to Albury. But Melbourne's stay might be short-lived. They aren't allowed to train in Victoria, so had to cross the border. Now, council backlash means they could be forced to head to Sydney.
We've been kept across that. Obviously, there'll be worked through with the people responsible for those decisions, and Melbourne are still moving towards going to Albury.
A sigh of relief for the NRL today. Latrell Mitchell tested negative to COVID-19. So did teammates Adam Reynolds, Liam Knight and Roosters coach Trent Robinson.
I think one of the things it shows is that some of the suggestions that we wouldn't take these protocols seriously or that the sport would have difficulty handling them is incorrect.
And there's more good news. The players officially agreed to their new pay deal. It equates to an 80% cut across the year. Clubs return to training tomorrow, but the Warriors got a jump on the rest while in quarantine in Tamworth. And they were feeling it.
It's a different type of training, trying to train on your own back home and inside your house and in your little backyard, and you come out here, and I think when you try and measure 60 metres back home compared to the real 60 metres, it's a long difference then.
The squad split into groups, a maximum of 10 in each. Just fitness and skills, no tackling or wrestling allowed until next week.
One group is up early, they have breakfast, they do their mobility, get ready, then you're on the field. And then the next group would get up, have breakfast, and then so on. So just almost like a chain.
Players are required to get a flu shot, but Titan Bryce Cartwright is refusing. Other players have been forced to move house, like Marcelo Montoya from the Bulldogs, whose mum works in aged care. Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
Supercars chairman Peter Wiggs has, in a short time, become one of the most important operators in Australian rugby. The finance power broker is now being touted as the code's next chairman, but today wanted to be referred to as a team player.
There's talk about you might be wanting to be the executive chairman?
No. I'm happy to work as part of a team at Rugby Australia, but this is my main focus.
Today there was further transformation of Sydney Motorsport Park, with the first of 132 lights erected, which will see the facility race day and night. The A-League is considering an August return date to finish the season. There are 32 matches remaining, including finals. Restarting is complicated as the A-League is played across 5 states plus New Zealand. Teams still aren't allowed to train and aren't complete.
August is a possibility. It's, you know, we're looking at several different options. We have a number of foreign players playing in each team, and we have foreign coaches as well. And we'd be looking to try as best as possible to finish the season with the same players that were playing when we stopped the season.
The FFA still expects to find out in June if Australia and New Zealand will host the 2023 Women's World Cup, despite a FIFA conference being cancelled. Georgie, that is all in sport.
Thank you, Jono. Well, coming up, Josh has the extended forecast for the Gold and Sunshine Coasts.
This is the toughest taste test ever.
Toughest taste test ever in MasterChef history. Of course it is. Why would they make it easy?
I'm used to making pasta. This is completely different. This is so hard.
The toughest taste test elimination, 7:30 tonight.
It is the heart of the home. It's the heart of our family. We need it to last a long time.
We definitely make the whole process affordable and easy.
So to create the amazing look without the big prices, beautiful kitchens that look amazing.
JB stores are open for business with the hottest deals. Sony Truly Wireless Noise Cancelling headphones for $2.99. Or these Sony Premium headphones for $3.95. And $450 off this Garmin Fenix 5S Sports Watch. Buy in store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
The COVID-19 crisis brings unprecedented internet traffic over the NBN network. To help support Australia during this time, we currently offer internet providers up to 40% increased network capacity. Our technicians remain on the ground wherever they're needed. And we're sharing updated tips to help you get more from your home setup. To find out more, visit nbn.com.au/response.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new, eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
When your functional digestive symptoms bring you down, choose Iberogast. Its combination of 9 medicinal herbs is clinically proven to relieve multiple digestive symptoms. Iberogast, herbal power that works.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
Bluey McDonald with 32 items in the Forgotta grocery bag lifting.
He's brought home the chockies with the milk, the bread, the bog roll and saved himself 45 cents.
Another make it look easy moment from Sportsbet.
Upload's that way, OR's the other way. What do you want to do?
Upload. Anytime you need me, I'll be here for you.
In-app purchase required.
I'm not even supposed to be here.
You think I wanted to fall into the Grand Canyon?
I saw that video. You dabbed on the way down.
That's how you get the lights.
Up next, the true cost of the coronavirus. We look into how much the shutdown has hurt Aussie hip pockets, how an Australian and New Zealand trans-Tasman travel bubble could benefit each country, and comedian Ross Noble's providing a much-needed laugh, all from the comfort of his weird and wacky ISO bunker. Project, next.
Well, time now for a final weather check. Josh, showers for the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, it's certainly the case as we get through tomorrow, Georgie. That's all thanks to onshore winds and a high-pressure system situated over New South Wales. And we can see that system responsible right here on screen, directing that onshore flow along the Queensland coast tomorrow. In fact, there will be the chance of a shower anywhere along the eastern fringe as we get through Wednesday, but in particular around areas of the wet tropics and also the southern coastline. Chance of a shower for the Gold Coast tomorrow, but I think those showers will be favouring areas of the sunny coast. In fact, today since 9 o'clock this morning, areas close to Noosa have received around about 10 millimetres into the rain gauge. Moving into the north of the state, chance of a shower for Cairns and 28 tomorrow, 21 the top for Atherton, seeing much the same. Should be a dry day for the Isa and Longreach, and sunny skies for Roma, hitting 27 degrees. Now, there will be the chance of a shower for Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie tomorrow, with temperatures pretty consistently there in the mid-20s. Into the southeast, it will be partly cloudy with a high chance of showers near that coastal fringe. Slight chance elsewhere. Overnight temperatures falling to between 10 and 15 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching the low to mid-20s. We're going for 25 at Logan, 24 at Caboolture and 21 at Toowoomba. Moving into Brisbane City, 25 degrees the top tomorrow, one above average for this time of year. Shower or two clearing for the city. Should be a fine evening. And as we get through Thursday, back to dry skies, 25 degrees. Much the same Friday and Saturday with a top of 26, and just a slight chance of a shower there on Sunday with a top of 28. Into Ipswich, partly cloudy tomorrow, 26 degrees. We're looking at that 27 degree mark over Thursday, Friday and Saturday, warming up a little bit as we get to Sunday afternoon, going for a top of 29. Now, a shower or two on the forecast for the Gold Coast tomorrow, 25 degrees. Back to dry conditions Thursday and Friday, 26 degrees Saturday, and a chance of showers returning over Sunday and Monday. Now, we've got a shower or two for the Gold Coast, but it will increase to showers for the sunny coast, 24 degrees the top, 25 on Thursday and Friday, and the showers should return as we get across Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday and Tuesday next week. So not a bad looking forecast, just a few coastal showers on the way, George.
A warm one on Sunday. Thank you, Josh. And before we go tonight, a reminder, our new show for kids learning online starts tomorrow. Coding at Home will give a crash course in computer programming and app development. It airs on 10 Peach on Wednesdays and Fridays from 11:30 a.m. And that is 10 News First for now. For more details on tonight's stories, make sure you head to 10 Daily, but stay on 10. The Project is next. We'll be back tomorrow at 5. We'll see you then. Have a good night.
Tonight, the true cost of the coronavirus. We look into how much the shutdown has hurt Aussie